As any Jane knows, shoes are one of the most challenging aspects of packing for travel. Because they take up so much room in your luggage, you really need something versatile. In this video, I'll share my experience with the Lems Boulder Summit boot. So far, I've worn these through airports, snowy nature trails, and city streets. Could it be it? Are these my perfect travel boot? The Lems Boulder Summit is a hiking boot that doesn't only look like it's a hiking boot. They retail at $210, which is a lot more than I usually spend on shoes. They are made with oiled leather and have a grippy sole. They are built for urban explorers and trail hikers alike. I bought these in size 8.5, which is a half size larger than I normally get. I wanted to have a little extra space for thicker socks. Lem shoes are built to fit the way a foot is actually shaped, which means the toe box is very roomy. I have a high instep, and on a lot of boots this means I have to unlace most of them to get my foot in. I didn't have as hard of time with the Boulder Summit, so that was a real plus for me. My break-in period was non-existent for these boots, probably because they are not super rigid. You can bend the sole quite a bit, which is helpful if you need to cram them into a bag. My requirements for a new boot is that I wanted something that I could wear traveling. These boots claim to be made for hiking, but I am more interested in being able to hike a couple miles, but also having a normal-looking shoe when walking around the city. I think they do a really nice job of looking normal. When wearing jeans, the boots are covered up and just look like a leather shoe. When wearing leggings, they look more outdoorsy, and you can pair them with some scrunch socks to really pull off the hiker vibe. These boots come in brown, black, and nitro, which is gray. I went with the brown because I already have some black palladium boots. I also like the two-tone effect of the brown between the sole and the leather. Lems are extremely comfortable shoes if you like your foot to feel like it's not wearing shoes. Because the toe box is so wide, you really have a lot of space in there. If you have a narrow foot, you might not like this if you're used to feeling more secure and surrounded. There isn't a ton of padding in the shoes, so if you were going on a really cold weather trip, you would have to pack warm socks or your feet might get cold. Here's where I tested them. Snowy nature walking on the Cabot Trail in Nova Scotia, long flights across the US, and hiking on the Idaho foothills. On the snowy Cabot Trail in Canada, I did not slide around. The sole had decent grip on the web boardwalk. When I was hiking down some dusty hills in Idaho, I did feel a little slippage. For 97% of the trail, I felt like I had good traction. It was just a couple steep downhill parts that I had to be deliberate about my steps. The sole isn't thick, it's actually quite bendy. That being said, I haven't ever been able to feel rocks coming through the foot of the shoe. I wore these shoes every day on my trip to Canada, walking around 15,000 steps daily, and my feet didn't ever hurt at the end of the day. My feet stayed dry in some rain and snow, but I haven't had to walk through a downpour or puddle, so I can't 100% guarantee their waterproofness. I do have confidence in them though, because the high quality of the materials. For hiking boots, these are very light, weighing in at around 14.9 ounces. They're also flexible, so if you needed to put them in a suitcase, you could probably come up with some creative ways to pack. I will most likely always wear these on travel days just to free up some space in my bag though. After wearing these boots extensively on a 10-day trip in fall in Canada and periodically during winter and spring in Idaho, here are my thoughts. Pros: surprisingly stylish. I don't think these look like heavy-duty hiking boots. Comfortable, with no blisters even after solid wearing for 10 days straight. Light and packable, as much as leather boots can be. High-quality materials that I am sure will be waterproof. Cons: expensive. At $200, these boots are on the absolute upper end of what I'll spend for shoes. Depending on your preference, all that room in the toe could be a bit too much and your foot might slip around. And the leather gets scratched easily. If that sort of thing bothers you, you might have to buy some buffing kits. So what's the verdict? Well, if you are a traveler who wants one boot that looks good but also performs well, this comes as close as I've ever gotten. I recommend them for city plus nature combo trips that I take. I'll probably leave them home when heading to the beach resort, but I'm definitely wearing them in Scotland in the spring. So what do you think? Would you rock these Lems on your next trip? Drop us a comment and let us know where you'd wear them. Like if this helped and subscribe to Jane Sees the World for more field-tested travel gear and reviews. Happy adventures!